Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go through my top three self-improvement books. So let me tell you a little story right here. I started reading self-improvement books, books in general, at the start of 2023, and by by now I have read like probably more than 20 self-improvement books, and also relatively the same amount, maybe even a little bit more of like fiction, classical books. And in this video, I collected the three books which have helped me the most, which are, in my opinion, so important to read that it is almost necessary to read them. And so, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to go through each book pretty briefly because I'll soon probably film a video in my new book series where I go through the books that I read and I cover them in detail. So let's start. Oh, and also at the end of the video, I'm going to have two books which aren't on that like top three list, but which are also so great that I just need to mention them. So let's start with the first one, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is like the Bible of social skills, honestly. It's like I do not believe in reading social skills books as like a way to improve your social life. Because here's the thing, being being social will teach you more than any like social skills like self-improvement books will ever teach you. Just going out and experiencing life will teach you more than any social skills book that you can find anywhere. And like you get what I mean. And but the thing is, if I would read one book on social skills, and I'm not saying that like you shouldn't read books on social skills, of course I'm not saying that. You can read, I have read a couple of books on social skills, but the thing is, most of them are just useless. Most of them are absolutely useless because like the information there, you can learn it just by going out and experiencing life. But the one book that I would say is absolutely necessary for everybody to read, like any person on this planet, this kind of like the book that we all should have been given in school, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book, I think it's almost 100 years old or something. Maybe not 100, but it is bloody old. But the information there has stood the test of time incredibly. This book consists of, I think, 30 or something principles, or maybe a little bit more. But let's take the number 30. And those principles are so important, you cannot ignore them. Because there's some like universal advice there, like do not criticize people, do not take interest in them, take interest in them sincerely, apologize when you're wrong. And everybody who who thinks that this book isn't for them, that they already know this, should definitely go and grab a copy of it. Because I myself, I'm an extroverted guy. I have always been this like extroverted, loud, boisterous kid in my class, and I thought I just didn't need this book. But I was convinced that I should read it, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind, but by how much of the important principles I didn't use in my life. So I have reread it twice, and this is certainly like one of those books that you should just go and read it. It's like there should be no excuses like that, oh, but I already know all of, like, no. You can go and with your excuses on our social skills books, because I haven't found anything like that book. I haven't read a couple of like social skills books, and I haven't found anything closely so helpful and necessary as this book. So, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is the essential self-improvement book, not only in self-improvement, but just like social skills. If you want to have a good social life, this is something that you just must read. So let's go on to the second book on it. This is a massive one, but this is The Loss of Human Nature by Robert Greene. This is a bloody massive book. It's like 600 pages or something like that. A little bit less than 600 pages. And this book, when I first read it, it completely changed the way I look on the world. It's like one of those books that you just read and it changes your, not only your, the way of your thinking, but just your attitude towards the world entirely. Because Robert Greene, you might know him as the author of 48 Laws of Power, which I have read. But I would say the 48 Laws of Power, it's nowhere as near as good as this book. It's like, yeah, I like the 48 Laws of Power. I like this book. But this one, it is bloody fantastic. So this book consists of, I think, 18 human, like, laws of human nature, and each one is just gladly covered in details. Like, there are the laws on the human irrationality, narcissism, willfulness, defensiveness, um fickleness, conformity, death denial, generational myopia, etc. Like, those laws, all of them, are covered in details with specific explanation of how to how to see that law, how to see that mood, I would say, or emotion appearing in the other people, but also how to counteract it. Because most of the laws are actually somewhat negative, like irrationality. We wouldn't like say right here that irrationality is something good, but there is a way to counteract that, and Roberts explains that like precisely and amazingly. Narcissism, um, like compulsive behavior, just etc. etc. It's like the the way this book is structured is just also something amazing about it. At the start of each law, Robert just talks about like some like example from the history of how this law was not how this law was used, but how it was used in either a good or a bad way. And he just tells a story for like a couple of maybe like 10, 20 pages. And this is something amazing, because if you want to learn about something, the best way to do this is probably like tell a story. And I won't lie to you, it's a pretty tough read. It's hard to read because let me just show you how like first of all, the text is like, I don't know if you can see this, like it's bloody small. It's bloody small and doesn't have the pauses or anything like that. But if you can just manage to go through this book, which is a tough read, it's like it took me 3 weeks to read it. You'll get so much insights not only into human nature, but just how the world works. It will completely change the way you look at the world. So, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, absolutely fantastic. It's, as I said, it's a tough read. It's going to take you some time, but it is amazing. I absolutely loved it. So, the third one is, of course, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, my absolute favorite. I conceived the last, my favorite one for the last. I'm not going to talk about this book in details because I have a full 2 episode series in like my new book series. It's like I took a weird name for this. I should probably rename it into something like book reviewers, or probably something like that. But in total, I covered this book for 1.5 hours. So every single law, not a law, every single rule, every single like insight, I covered that in details in book series. But just let's go briefly through it. This is the only book that you need to fix your life. I'm not even taking a piss. It's like this is the only book that you need to change your life. From this is like if you read this book and you implement those 12 rules, the two rules are kind of like on parenting. So if you don't have children, like if you implement those 10 rules, you'll this is like going from 0 to 1. And the difference between 0 to 1 is insane. It is absolutely insane how this book just changes your entire perspective. And the way it is structured also, it's like you go from literally step by step. It's like this is how you fix your life. And what I it's like this book is entirely what it says, an antidote to chaos. So not going to go through every single law right now, or sorry, not law but rule. I have a full guide, not even like a full guide, but like a full review on my channel. You can just go to playlist and just find the book series, and I in 2 episodes I covered this book. It is just phenomenal. It is immaculate. And so for the last two books, which are kind of like they aren't in my top three, but I still like them a lot. So let's go through the two of those. The first one is Hard Times, Great Strong Men by Stefan Arnio. This is just a slap in the face when you read it, because this book is like it is just written in this I wouldn't even say aggressive, but this like how would you even call this, like self-improvement guru way, where it is no like Jordan Peterson or Robert Greene or any of those guys. Like this this is like how would you even explain it? If you know who, and you probably know him, Hamza, the self-improvement YouTuber. This book is structured in a way that's like this book is the book that Hamza would write, because it is just structured in this like bro style self-improvement way where just it is a slap. It is somewhat like a slap in the face when you read it, because it just explains in 500 pages why you are a weak man and what a weak man will usually achieve in their life. And the simple answer is nothing, nothing but disaster. In in 500 pages, you just get a total explanation of why you need to be strong and why you shouldn't be weak. Very easy read. It's a very easy read. 500 pages though. It's like it's not small, but it's very easy to read. Very entertaining. It's amazing. I liked it. And the second of those two is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I wouldn't necessarily say I implemented kind of like all of the techniques or something like that, because my way of structuring and building new habits is completely different from what James talks about in this book. It is not like doing the 2 minute rule and like using some like Goldilocks zone or something like that, but it is more of like the military style way where I just put in my like daily routine. Okay, at 6 p.m. or like at 6 p.m. I'm going to do this. At 7 p.m. I'm going to do this, and I just follow that single-mindedly. But the amount of insights into how habits work, the amount of insights that I got from this book, it is phenomenal. Environment, I mean, like probably, yeah, this is the single-handedly the biggest thing I got from this book. It is about how environment, the place that we live in, just totally changes and shapes the way we look, the way we act, the way we structure our day, the way we structure our habits, all of the like the 10 10 oh sorry, not 10, but the 2 minute rules, the accountability partners, the all of this stuff, the visualizations. It is all great. I just didn't like get much from this book because my way of structuring my habits is completely different. But if you really want to, because here's the thing, you might, the world is kind of like divided into two types of people: the one who will use this book, the one who will read this book, the ones who will read this book and get the methods and actually will implement them in their lives, because when they just put in their daily calendar that at 5 p.m. they'll need to go to the gym, they won't go to the gym because they'll procrastinate, and so they'll need all of the methods. And the second type is like the my type, who just need to put the habits in the daily calendar and will just follow it single-mindedly. But I get that a lot of people, actually probably it's you, who needs this book just simply to understand how habits work. And so Atomic Habits will be the last book on this list. I like this book because of the insights into the habits themselves, not how to build them, but just the insights in them. So yeah, those were the top three self-improvement books, and also the two which are not in the top three: How to Influence and Influence People, The Laws of Human Nature, 12 Rules for Life, Hard Times Create Strong Men, and Atomic Habits. And so with that, I hope this will help you, and see you in the next one.